Some of the most successful and famous adverts in history were done for the Volkswagen Beetle when it was being launched in America. At the time, Americans loved big and what they saw as beautiful cars. And along came the Beetle, which was the absolute opposite. One of the adverts was a tiny Beetle on this huge sheet of white canvas, and it just said, "Think small." Another one was the Volkswagen Beetle, where it said, "It's ugly, but it gets you there." The point is Americans thought the Beetle was ugly. And by openly stating it to the American public and saying it's ugly, it made the second statement, "But it gets you there," the fact that it's a really reliable car, believable because of the first statement. In other words, companies often try and purvey this perfect image where they're good at everything. But sometimes pointing out the obvious failures or flaws, or the ones that don't really matter, make the claims that you are saying more believable. There are some great examples of this in history. One of the most effective adverts of all time was for Avis, who were always playing number 2 to Hertz. And the advert read, "When you're only number 2, you try harder or else." And it was a really effective ad by playing on the fact that everybody knew they were only number 2. Stella Artois was never the cheapest beer in the market, in a place that was quite price sensitive. But their tagline, "reassuringly expensive," made it obvious that they knew they weren't the cheapest, but there was a guarantee that you were getting quality behind it, and it was incredibly effective in promoting the brand. In an era where companies control their own media on websites or on social platforms, people spend so much time trying to be slick and the best they can be. And of course, you want to look effective, but sometimes pointing out your obvious flaws or being able to poke fun at yourself makes you come across as more authentic and the claims that you do make much more believable. So remember, perfect isn't always perfect. Companies, like humans, are often more relatable when we can see their foibles. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comment box. And to receive regular marketing updates, hit subscribe.